Hello, thank you everyone. Hi, this is Abhishek from StudyMetro Bangalore team, and I have my colleague Michael from USA. So right now he's in France due to his mother health. He came now, but he's going back by next week. So thank you very much to all attendees who joined this webinar today. And today we are going to talk about what are the difficulties. Most of the agents in India, they find the difficulties when they recruit the students, and how Study Metro can help you to read all these difficulties and increase the recruitment locally, whatever the students you get in day-to-day basis. So this webinar, we want everybody, whatever the questions you have regarding the USA educations, especially the universities, especially the programs, especially the tuition fee and the processing time and all. Please feel free to write down in chat box window. You can see the chat box window right side in your hand, and you can type any questions whatever you have. If you want to speak, please let us know. We can allow you, we can unmute you so that you can speak and you can directly ask the questions to Michael or to myself also. So Michael, if you want to start, I'll just hand over to you, and meantime whenever you require, I'm there to speak to the
Mhm.
all the agents.
Great, great. Thanks again, everybody. And hopefully you can see my video on my camera as well, so you have a way of getting a sense who I am. I just wanted to, first of all, wish everybody a happy new year. I know that you're about to begin your small holiday for the weekend, so I really appreciate your time for being here today. I am right now in Paris indeed, because I am French by nationality and also American. I do live in Chicago, and as you can see on my next slide, I have been involved in education for a couple of years. Mainly my background is in business and economic development, but I joined as a consultant and partner StudyMetro about a year ago. And before this, I used to also work directly with them on behalf of a university in the USA. So I have a little bit of background about higher education, recruitment, marketing strategies, and sort of building, strategies for helping to bring students abroad. With that matter, my role here for Study Metro is twofold. Number one is I am the point of contact for our agents, our counselors, our management team for the US relationship with the universities and Europe. And second, I'm here to also help to grow the company in building some strategies and consultancy to Abby and Abhishek and the team. So again, it's my honor to be here and to present to you just a couple of things about why I believe that it's important for you to consider joining our team. Um, Study Metro is a very strong, robust organization that has been growing over the past years since 2010, and is poised to become, one of the top five consultancy in higher education in India. And for that token, that's also why I wanted to join the team. I thought it would be really exciting to be part of a movement that really is strong and have a great leader to support it. So if you haven't heard of us before, I'm sure you have, but just to kind of bring a couple of facts to you, we are based in Bangalore and Indore, but we are expanding the outreach of recruitment in two different ways. One is by developing a franchise system where you are purchasing the brand of Study Metro and getting the full support from us. So that's happening now already in 9 different cities. And that really tends to be good for agents like you that may have a couple of years of experience, proven themselves to have built a pipeline and of network and successful recruitment in the past. But then at the same time, we also work with agents of one or two people who are really dedicated to helping the students locally in different parts of India as well. So we welcome you and other people to listen into this webinar, to ask questions and to think about joining our network to really build your business by belonging to a very strong organization like ours. So again, where are we right now? Again, we are in Bangalore, that's where Abhishek is from. Indore, that's where Abhi is from, which is his brother. But then we also have a spawn office in Mumbai, Pune, Hyderabad, Ahmedabad, Anand, Coimbatore, and Bangalore. We plan on expanding this even further. So the plan for us is to really have a presence and a branding in different city in India, so we can cater to different students with different needs. As we know, the South has always been so focused on STEM education in the past, and now we're seeing more changes happening in India, where students are considering going to short-term study programs, to undergraduate studies as well, high school as well. So we really want to expand as much as possible, knowing that Indian students really have an aspiration to go in the USA. That being said, the US market is not our only market. We have developed over the years presence and partnerships all across the world. My job in the past couple of years have been to go to conferences, to develop relationships with schools from Europe, from the UK, from Eastern Europe, from Russia, from South America and Colombia, for example, so that we really have an option available for everybody who comes to us and comes to you. These are just a couple of snapshots about where we are in our office space. As we know, we try to be very clean, very welcoming, professional as well. That is really where we build a reputation about StudyMetro, and we want to keep this very strong. What do we offer? It's a full spectrum. Just like many other agencies, we really want to be a point of any counseling need from any students coming from any level of needs. So anything from training for GRE, for English level, testing, all the way to consultancy about finding a school and getting there through the process, all the way to the visa assistance training program, the loans to finance that, all the way to also finding jobs when they arrive in the US on CPT or OPT. So that is also where we, I think, stand out a little bit stronger, is that we don't want to be a one-off kind of place. We really want it to be an extension to a family of a person, where we really want people to come to us and think about how we can help this person all the way to arriving to the US and even beyond that. So we'll discuss this further, but one of our strongest points as well here is that we're very much customer focused. We focus also on just developing the relationship after they arrive to the US or the other universities, and developing the relationship helps us to build a network and to assist them even further in finding employment in the USA or in Europe. So as you can see, we do have partnerships all across the world. The majority come from the USA, Canada, and then I think it would be Europe and Australia. And as we know the situation today, students are looking for every possible place to go to, but the US continues to be the #1 place because of family members being there, but especially because of the work opportunities that exist there and the money that can be made over there too. So, we do definitely, offer partnerships at all levels. Summer programs is becoming more and more popular, so we have been approached by many schools, especially in California, who are looking to do short-term summer programs where students can go for a couple of weeks at a time, all the way to 1 semester, studying a particular course. That is sometimes transferable back to India, but sometimes not. But it's giving the students an experience of a lifetime to really experience American culture, the university campus atmosphere, improving the language skills, so they can prepare themselves much better after to apply for a full degree program. All the way from anything from master's to doctorate, of course, too. I said before, in the US, we definitely have the strongest partnerships possible. It's all across the US, but of course, the majority of good schools will be focused on the East Coast and the West Coast, including also some schools like Montana, which is a very good school, and some of them in Florida, UCF, Central Florida, and such. And so we definitely have access to all these partnerships, which then provides you as an agent the opportunity to offer any sort of program that anybody needs to study in the US. To give you a couple of examples, we definitely have schools who are in the top ranked school. We have schools who are private, some are public, some are very small, some are very big. And my job in the US is to continue expanding the network so that we can again have a relationship to all the schools that somebody wants to go to. I'm attending conferences on a regular basis. to find the clients, to find the universities. And I can tell you one thing is that more and more state universities, so the best ones usually, are looking to go into an agency model. And with that in mind, it's giving us an opportunity to develop more partnerships, which then translate into better business opportunity for your students as well. Keeping in mind that a lot of the private universities and smaller universities also will be more flexible in accepting students with or without sometimes the IELTS or the GRE. These are some examples here. We have many more as well. The point I want to make here is simple, is that we definitely have options for you as an agent to offer to shortlist schools for anybody who comes to your door. And that's what you really want to think about StudyMetro, is a big place that has provided the resources to help you to succeed and to become a good agent and counselor to your students as well. One thing that is also quite different and quite strong in our opportunities is that we definitely also have developed relationships with schools and companies who are looking to develop students to become professionals. And that means that we are partnering with schools who are offering what's called a CPT program, curriculum practical training, which basically means that somebody who enrolls into one of these programs is going to be able to study and work during the first 2 years of their program, as opposed to waiting until the end of the graduation and then applying for OPT. The CPT program is something that is very popular now for vocational schools, career schools, but even the big schools as well, because it provides an experiential learning to the students while they're studying in the US. And that is very critical. Not many agencies and consultancies will offer that option, but that is definitely one of our specialties. And as we know, the students in India really want to work. Study, of course, number one, but work is a priority as well, to fund their studies, to bring back money to the families, to also just earn their own income and become more independent. And so we want you to think that we definitely have the resources to help you to find that as well. Just to give you a quick snapshot, in the past, the job market is still very good in the US. As we know, we have reached below 5% unemployment rate recently. So it's a very good market. It's very flexible too. Despite the politics with Donald Trump, the US continues to be a place that welcomes immigrants and that looks for talent from all over the world. Especially if you have students who are in the MS program, science, computer science, technology, finance, mathematics, engineering. These students are more poised to getting jobs quite easily that are really good pay. And you can see some examples like this on the screen where we see the most important needs coming from the employers. And so we are able to provide those connections with those companies to the students during the courses or after they finish school as well, so they can continue staying in the US legally. So that's just one thing that I just wanted to highlight, a little bit, that when you're thinking about providing a service to your students, about finding a school, you can take this way beyond that, and you can tell them it's about finding a school, and it's about finding a school to give you a career opportunity. And StudyMetro and yourself, as being part of an agent network, will have an option to giving a service that goes way beyond just the school admission. It goes into also the career opportunities, the internships, and the potential of earning income while they're studying. For us, what's really important, as I said before, we have been in business for many years now, and we continue to grow. We have processed over 2,500 different admissions over the years. So we have gained a reputation amongst schools in the US and Europe that is important for us to protect, especially amidst the scandals and the politics that sometimes put a bad picture on the agents in India and China specifically, who are becoming unethical. And so for us, it's very important that we are finding agents who are looking for, first and foremost, professionalism, who are giving accurate information to the students, who are processing applications correctly, and who are really leading the students to the right directions with integrity, and not being selfish, but being really mindful of the students' interest first and foremost. So we have a promise to our partners to be precise, to be accurate, to have transparency and integrity in our procedures, and we expect the same from the agencies as well. And we have recently taken this even further. I'm very proud to say that we have been granted the AARC, the American International Recruitment Council Certification, which will be good for about 10 years now with renewals. And this means that we have reached the highest potential ethical standards for being an agent for the US partnerships. That means that now we are held accountable to pretty high code of ethics standards, but also more than that, I think it's giving us access to even greater opportunities of partnership with schools. So just to give you an example, when you are becoming an AARC member, and it's something that you can also promote to your students, you can tell them that, we have a very close partnership with schools that are members of the AARC certification organization. And that means that we have a promise to them and vice versa to work together, speedy, accuracy, transparency, but also it gives us access to many good schools. So if you click on this, and you look at all the schools, for example, who are members of AARC, the list is pretty long. You can see here, I'm going to go into this very quickly, but it goes from anything from private to public universities. And these universities are only partnering with agencies who are certified like we are right now. So again, what you're seeing here is that you have an advantage by partnering with StudyMetro, because we then have access to the right schools, we have access to the right people in the schools, and then we are able to access conferences that are very elitist and exclusive to only the people who are certified. So that is to me, that really I think is putting StudyMetro at a different level than before, and that's I think why we are looking for expanding our network with more agencies and franchisees. More importantly, I think that Abhishek wanted just to touch a bit more about how do we really support you, how do we work with you as an agent, and I know that you have your own worries and concerns and we can address those, but I really want to focus on those things first and foremost. First of all, StudyMetro provides to you access to a strong network and knowledge. So the network is not just the universities, it's the network within India as well of schools, of marketing partners, of organizations around the US and around the world who are recognized in higher education. And when people hear our name, they know who we are and they trust our services. We also provide on a regular basis opportunities for you to also engage directly with your students, with the schools that we work with. So I'm responsible, for example, to getting about one webinar per week from a school in the US or in Europe to present to you as an agent how they work, their programs, their requirements for checklists and admissions, and it gives you also a chance to learn more about the different schools around the world that you can get support from. Even further than that, it gives you also a marketing strategy for you to invite students to your office to listen in so they can see that you have a relationship with the schools yourself too. We also organize school visits, and we actually have a planned education fair that will be coming up at the end of, I think it'll be early April. We'll be organizing our first nationwide fair in India across 5 different cities. And so we'll be inviting you as an agent to bring your students to apply to meet the schools directly there, so you can support your students locally and have a direct interaction with the schools that we work with too. When you're onboarding with us too, we support you with an agent manual. We provide training on a regular basis too. I know that also our owners, are traveling to India on a regular basis too and supporting your training and visiting you in person to see if things are going good. But I think that more importantly, we have used technology as well to facilitate the processing of applications. So number one, we do have an application management system where you can track where the applications are. When you're submitting it to us, you can kind of see what status they are, if there's any kind of missing documents. It's a very easy way to centralize the process to give you more efficiency in managing more than just one person at a time. Most importantly, I think as well, you have our support from Abhishek, Abhi and his team, and for myself in the US as well. So anytime you have an issue also with the school, if you're not getting a response from somebody I can also intervene and I can help to support that from the US directly. More importantly, I think as well too is that we do offer some things very different from other agencies. We do offer CPT programs, so we do have also those specific relationship with schools. We can offer internships for the students, and as said before, we take this much further than just the admissions process. We also help students find a place to stay in the US, also find the jobs, if they have the right skill sets, and at least to prepare for interviewing when they're in the US as well. But to me, I think what I would say, is that what's really important is to utilize us as a resource, count on us for increasing your network and your branding. But becoming a true partner means that there's a communication and trust as well. And I think this is where I want to reemphasize the fact that we have a very good website that can be used by the student or by yourself to sort of narrow down the list of programs available to the students. So you can counsel them really well based on their relationships. And you can be guaranteed commissions, when you're doing admissions with your students. That being said, too, I know that sometimes people ask, how much do we pay? What is the commission structure? So if you are joining us as an agent, we promise you 60% of all the money that we can collect from the schools. So every school is different. Some schools are giving anything from a percentage of a tuition for 1 year all the way to a fixed amount every semester, all the way to sometimes just a fixed amount that can go up to $2,000 or $3,000. It just depends on every single school. We have the contracts that are binding to us, and then we give you 60% of whatever has been collected by us from the school. Plus, many agents, are high-performing agents, and they're producing a lot of different students, and they really want to grow and thrive. And so we reward you with that by giving you more commissions and bonuses as well. So we will run some campaigns on a regular basis to motivate you to find more people and to help more students get admitted to the schools too. And before we open it up to, I think, maybe addressing some of your concerns and questions, I also wanted to reemphasize the reason why we think it's an important time for us to be involved in education and why we think we can grow together as a team. Number one, I think, is that there are some concerns in the US about diversifying more and more students in the campuses, which means that the schools who in the past were relying so much on Chinese students, for example, or maybe Saudi Arabian students, are now looking to expand to India, to Europe, to South America. And so we are becoming now more and more important for many schools as well. That being said, too, in the past, the only schools who would work with agents were the schools who were private, small, flexible, but now we're seeing more and more public schools looking into providing commissions. So now we're able to work with better schools than ever before. Just recently, for example, we got Montana State University joining us as a partner. It's one of the top schools as well in the US. And so they have an agent model, so we're able to get commissions from them that we can then, of course, pass that on to you as an agent too. However, on the other flip side is that more and more agencies are coming out. It's a very competitive market, India as well as other markets in the world. And so the schools are struggling because they cannot manage having 50 agents relationships. It's too difficult for them to manage that. So what they're doing is they're looking for 1, 2, or 3 agencies, consultancies at the maximum per market, who can offer them a better market outreach. And that's where StudyMetro becomes more and more attractive to them. So you as a small agent who have maybe one office in one city with 2 or 3 people on your staff will have a lot of hard time finding the connection with the schools because you're too small to them. But if you put your name with our name, if you join our network, then you now have access to a StudyMetro network. And then we work with all the schools, and it helps you to have access to more resources and credibility right away with the schools too. And finally, I think that we are seeing a growth in every school in the world wanting to become more and more international at all levels. And so we're seeing a lot of exchanges happening and partnerships between universities around the world too. And that is something that we can also facilitate for the universities that we work with. So I think just to sort of end this on a good note, I think that what's important to us is that what we believe is that we put the students always first, and we want to provide some sort of opportunity for everybody who comes to us. Quality education, affordable and accessible for everyone. So we are believing in empowering people. You as an agent, empowerment is important as well, as much as it is for the students too. So I think I'm going to kind of close here. You can go on the website to see more things from us, but I think it would be worthwhile for us to maybe talk a bit more about you now. What are your needs and challenges, questions that you have when you want to work with the bigger agencies like us, like StudyMetro? And Abhishek, if you may want to maybe add anything else to this, let me know.
Yeah, thank you very much, Michael. And I open the session for all the counselors, all the agents. If you have any questions regarding the US educations and your difficulties when you recruit the students, please feel free to write down here. In the meantime, I'm just launching one poll also, so you can take a part of this poll and let us know the what is your pain area when you recruit the students. I do understand marketing is the always the number one, because in the end most of the small agents they take a part they take a leads from the Sulekha, Just Dials, and some other mediums, and we have seen that most of the leads are sharing basis, so the same leads distribute to the 6 to 7 other people also, and if you're not competitive enough and your prices are not low, you lose the clients. So that is one way, and we have seen that most of the agents complain that they find difficulties when this they don't know what kind of universities they can offer to their students, because when the students walk in and uh, that time you should offer them at least 3 to 5 universities according to their profile, that what kind of TOEFLs they have, what kind of GRE they have, either they have or they don't have, and what kind of states they are preferring or not. And yeah, in the end, the biggest challenge which I think that is visa for the USA. If we talk about from last, now it's 8 months now which we have seen the visa rates come down like anything, and all the students and agents are worrying about how we can improve the visas and all.
Mm-hmm.
So please take a part on this cues and just let us know what kind of difficulties you have, so that we can talk one by one how we can work together as working as a team to resolve all your problems and issues, and how we can recruit the more students. And the meantime, if you have any other questions also regarding other difficulties, feel free to write down here. Okay, so Michael, I'll start taking one and two questions, and the meantime, the people they can take a part of the poll also.
So,
So we have one agent. His name is Neil Goswami, and he's having two questions. He's having one student which he filed the petitions for the immigration, and because now it is getting delayed, he want to apply for the student visa, so he's not sure about what kind of answer he give to his student, and then I'll talk about the second question also.
so if I'm understanding, he's applying for what kind of immigration visa? Maybe like an H-1B at the beginning, or maybe a green card or
Yes,
some sort
yes,
of.
yes. So the students has applied might be for the H1B, but now
Mm-hmm.
he is stuck, so he want to apply now F1.
Right. Well, what I would tell you is that F1, in this case here, needs to be very justified. So I think I would look at this background and to see if he would be able to talk to an officer and explain to him very clearly why he is applying for a master's degree at this point in his life. And so definitely here the key is not mixing the past and the real reason why he's applying for F1 to get to the US, but really identifying the real reason that would help him professionally to advance. if you apply for an F1 visa, I think I would really look for a strong school in this case to really have a good case for his I-20 and F1 visa to be approved. There needs to be a justification about how is his motivation changed from going to the US before as a permanent resident and now just to go in there to study. So I think it's a little bit tricky. I think you really have to talk to the student more in details and find a way to make sure there's a progression in his path. Maybe it's a doctorate program. I'm not sure where it is right now, but definitely finding what really is a logical progression for his career through education in the US to get a really good visa. Also, we find that there is a greater chance for someone to get the visa if they have multiple applications and multiple schools, not just one. So don't ever just have one school, one I-20, and go to the interview. We really advise that you find better, good students and that you have them apply to 2, 3, or 4 places at a time. So they have options, and so they can also have a really good explanation when they speak with the officers about why they chose to go to one place or another.
Okay, thank you. The same person asked the second question is that what are the chances to get the spouse visa in USA, that is F2?
Well, F2 is enough for the spouse, right? Yeah, the F2 is not a problem as long as the F1 has been approved. So the F2 is not an issue at all. The main question will be financial support, which means that when you're applying for a dependent, it could be a child, it could be a spouse, you have to be able to support them when you're in the US too. That means that your I-20 requirement for financials will be a little bit higher than what it is for just one person. But it's pretty easy to get. As long as your F1 is good to go, it's not a problem at all.
Okay, we have another consultant. His or her name is Anil Mahajan, and his question is that majorly on the academics, can a students with the low academics with the good GRE and IELTS can get the good universities?
Yeah, so the academics will basically dictate the GPA in the US. The minimum GPA we'll find for most schools will be a 2.5 out of 4 to go into any master's degree. So oftentimes also what schools do is they look at 3 things when they look at an admissions. They look at academic profile, so it's the GPA we just talked about. They look at the GRE or GMAT scores, and then they look about the motivation letter, the letter of the statement of purpose, or maybe the resume of the person. And they look at all 3 things together, and they sort of look and see if the person will be a good profile for the school. So I think it's definitely fine. One thing can be compensated by the other. But the GPA tends to be important, I would agree. But anything above a 2.5 will be fine, which is about a 55 percentile for you in India. Anything below 55 percentage will be a little bit harder and tricky to get admissions, and may reduce the number of options maybe to different schools, but not impossible, I would say.
Okay, so now I have the result of our first poll, which I want to show to everybody. So
Visa.
almost the audience are divided between the visa and the shortlisting the universities, and the 17% we have for the marketing. So I think marketing wise everybody is fine, but the main issues they find with the universities and the visas.
Mm.
So
So let me talk about the visa a little bit, and then you can talk about that as well too, I think, Abhishek.
yeah.
So from our perspective, the visa is what really is the most important, right? Because you work with the students for a long time, 6 months, 3 months, you work with them to do so many things. And then at the end, they go into an interview at the embassy or the consulate, and everything can be just changed in a second, right? So we have to be much more proactive as an agency, as a consultant, in helping the student understand the importance of these interviews, because we don't want to delay their future by a simple mistake of not being ready for an interview. So what we know is that there are a couple of factors that help to be more successful in getting a visa. Number one, like I was saying before, is the motivation of the studies in the US. Being able to clarify this very well, very concisely. Why did I choose this school? Why do I want to go there? And what is my plan after I'm finished with school? Never, never should anybody say they want to work in the US, number one. It may be simple, but it's true, right? They don't want to hear that. Number two, it's more favorable if the student also has GRE testing, IELTS testing, to showcase their dedication to going to study in the US. It's true that some schools don't require it, but from an immigration perspective, they want to see that somebody has made a lot of efforts and thought for many, many years and months about going to the US. So it's not a very split decision to go and work and stay in the US and never come back. Three, it's important for the student to also have done the research on their own. So you have to balance as an agent how much you want to help somebody find the schools for shortlisting and how much does the student themselves look and research the schools and know them really well and why they chose to apply at the schools. So you always really want to go and apply for 3 to 5 schools, get about 2 to 3 I-20s to choose from, and then help the student explain to you why they choose one school over the other. And make sure that it's nothing to do with family being around or nothing to do with the weather. It has to be something that is more valuable and solid, such as the faculty credentials, the experience, the graduation rate is very high, the affordability is good for your family, that you can afford it, you can pay for it. Those kind of things are very much more important than saying anything that would be too superficial. And I think that then number 4 is communication skills. That's where I think you have a role as an agent, is to really have a coaching with the student about gaining confidence in speaking clearly and with strength about their decision to go in the US. And Abhishek will let you know that we also offer a online visa program that is really unique to StudyMetro. We really want everybody to go and watch that, to take this assessment online, and then to have the supplemental coaching from you directly. And in some cases also, we can involve the schools too. So we can involve the schools to interview the student before the interview to prepare them even better to say, hey, why I chose to go to Sunny University and why it's a good place for me.
Okay, I'm not sure. Everybody can see my screen. Michael, can you see my screen now?
Yeah, yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so this is the visa course which we offer, and you can see generally it is a $150 for the direct students, but for our students, like especially who are coming from the agents, we give the free to them. So it's free of cost for all your students. And generally in this visa training, we covered by the different videos. Again, it's the videos from the ex visa officers who are giving a training to our students, that what kind of things they have to prepare. And then we are covering, we have created the e-learning courses. It's like, again, we developed our contents through immigration lawyer from the United States, and we have created the animated videos, and we are the first company in India and abroad who having the e-learning for any visa training, which help you it's which help your students to understand all the basic informations about the F1 category. So generally, you can see the 3 and 4 things they look forward from the students. That is, the students should be the serious, and how they make the seriousness is that they should have their GRE GMATs. They should know about where they, which schools they are applying, which universities they are applying. They research about the states or the cities where the university is located and their future plans. So all these
Mm-hmm.
things which we covered here, you can see there are 13 assignments in this chapter. And then we have being truthful, that if the visa officers think that your students are lying here and there, that is a first black mark or red mark for the visa officers to deny the visa. So we make
Yeah.
sure the students should be truthful enough for their profile about their ts 160 and about their universities and their future plan. And the another thing they look forward is the financial ability of the students. They should have the sufficient funds. In the past, there is a university that is called uh, uh, SVU, where so many students got detained by the port of entry, and most of them, why they detained, because the student does not have the proper bank statements. They find out the students are using the fake statements, or the student does not have the sufficient funds, or student doesn't pay the tuition fee to the universities. So we want that the students should have the financial sound enough, and that's why we created the chapter where we talk about what kind of ways to produce the statements and the CA reports, and how you can tell them that this much is sufficient for your study. So generally the visa officer look forward, especially they look
Yeah.
for 1 year of your tuition fee and 1 year of your living expense. But we expand to the students that at least you should have a 2 years of tuition fees and 2 years of living expense, to make sure that visa officer not look that you don't have a sufficient fund. The
Yeah.
another chapter we talk about home timeless, that they should have a plan to come back to their home countries. So most of the students, they say I'll finish my studies and I'll work there, or I'll apply for the work visa or apply for the green card and all, because F1 is not immigration visa, it's non-immigration visa. So you should make sure that the students should understand that they are planning to come home back. And then we have a conclusion assignments where we take the mock interviews of the students from my US team. So sometimes we take by the people who already have the visas on their hand, or sometimes the
Mm.
Michael or Abby, they come in the picture and they take the mock interview. And then we are in the process to hire one immigration lawyer also, who take care about the taking the visa mock interviews before your students attend the real interview, to make sure that they'll get the visas.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think again, if you have a student who is really good, but maybe he's just not comfortable communicating well because he needs more coaching, um, come to us and let us know. We can do coaching one-on-one, but we can also get the school involved sometimes too, and we can have somebody from the school do a Skype interview with the student and provide more information about the school so they can feel more ready to go to the embassy after that.
Yeah. And the second thing which I think you mentioned, that shortlisting the universities and all. So I just want to tell to the all our agents that we created our portals. It's new portal just launched in the this month, and where we make sure that our agents, they can find the programs and the universities online instead of calling us or instead of emailing us the documents. So let's say if you have a students who want to do the computer, you just have to select the program, where which program he want to know, and then you should select the which country he is looking forward. Let's say for the USA, and select the level which undergraduate or graduate. So if you select the undergraduate, let's say if you have the students who want to do the computer in undergraduate, then automatically the system will find out the whatever the computer programs offered in the USA for the undergraduate level, and it will give you the results. So it's very easy for you to find out which universities offering the computer programs in the undergraduate, when they found out what is their tuition fee, what is their application fee, and all these things. And
Mhm.
you can shortlist the universities and the programs by yourself or by your staff, and then automatically you can give to the students that these are the three universities offered this programs, where you are eligible according to their location. So you can see the location as a Florida, location as a St. Paul, location as the Vermont, New York, California. So according to the locations or according to the specific programs, you can find out the universities and which you can give to your students. If they like it, we can take it further from there and we can start their process.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me take the um another question from the agents. So we have another question came from Parmit Bhatia.
Mhm.
Okay, so her question is when the students can apply for the F2 after getting the visa, or before also they can apply.
I think that the F2 comes at the same time as your F1. I mean, it can be done later on as well, of course. You can always bring a member even after you're in the US already. But as long as they do the interview in India, it's fine. But it's better to do it at the beginning, again, because you need to be able to show that you have a plan for everything, that you have to support your family if they come with you. But it's flexible. I think I've seen people come after 6 months. Some people come directly with them because they have a baby, maybe, or you need to support the baby. So there's different ways you can do that.
Okay. So your question, I guess, was like the student should join the university or the students can apply after the once the student get the visa. So mostly the students can apply for the F2 after the 2 days when the students get stamping, and if they want to travel together, they can travel together also. We
Yeah,
have
but I will.
another.
The university is gonna requires a document usually for an affidavit, which shows that you have the money to support yourself for the school and for your personal living. And there, they will probably ask you if you are planning to have also a dependent come with you too. So just be planning a little bit ahead of time. It's better.
Okay, okay. So another question asked by the MD Ashaq, I think he's from Bangladesh or Pakistan. His question is, what kind of help we can expect for funding possibilities from the university for MSc and PhD program?
Well, many schools will provide scholarships, not oftentimes full rides, unless they really are in a very specific research field that is needed by the US government, so there's grants to support that. But at the master's level, many schools will probably give a discount or a fixed amount discount the first year based on the GPA oftentimes. So the higher the percentage of the undergraduate transcripts, the better chance for that to happen. Uh, in general, however, in the US, there are more scholarships available for undergraduate studies than there are for master's degrees. Now, for PhD level, there are two different kind of PhDs, right? You have the PhD management level, which is very much practical and lecture based, almost like a master's degree, but it's a PhD level with a small dissertation. These do not tend to be funded and supported because it's not research based. But if somebody is going into a research field for a PhD, that oftentimes present more opportunities for funding because depending on the topic of the research, that may actually receive support from the school because the school really wants to have that topic of research be named for them with the success. Other things that schools will do at the PhD level is they provide what's called a TA, so you can become a teacher assistant during the time, which provide you with an income um, during the term that you're studying. It's not a lot, but it's definitely enough to sort of support you personally. It won't be enough to support your studies, no, but it gives you some kind of work and activity and helps you to be part of the system as a teacher and get you ready for research too.
Okay. We have the another question from the same person. And do you offer the support for admission in the schools for the children? Yes, we do support. Like we are working with a couple of the schools in the USA, Canada, New Zealand. So if you have the students who want to studies in the schools, we definitely you can forward to us, and then according to their budgets, we can shortlist some universities for you. We have
You,
another
you mean high
agent.
school, right?
Okay. So another question come from the Kritika because there are so many questions I just want to cover. We only have the 10 minutes now, so I just want to cover
Okay.
all the questions. So one question come from the Kritika is that please tell about the pathway. What can be done if the IELTS scores are less? Still, they want to get the public universities.
Yeah. Well, the good news is that a lot of state universities have created some bridge programs, which is about 1 year long usually. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's really valuable because it provides two things. It provides a better support system for the students to start going into a US system, culture, and living in the US. There's a lot of supportive activities to go out, to discover, to stay with students, to really build a network. So it's very good for young students, who are 18-year-old, for example. And at the same time, they have English classes on a regular basis. And depending on some schools, some of them will actually also create a pathway into the first year of school directly, which also makes the admissions process much easier. So it will waive the requirement for the IELTS or TOEFL if you succeed in completing the courses with them. I highly recommend them. It extends the program by 1 year, it's true, but I think it's a better retention tool. There's more chance to see a successful student at the end going into this program because they are much better supported by the system and prepared to go into academics as well.
I
There
just
are
want.
some programs like this also for master's degree level, right? So some programs will also have their own ESL classes for 1 semester, and if you advance in the class system that they provide, and you reach a certain advanced level, then you automatically receive admissions to your master's degree. It's called a pre-admission essentially. So you get the I-20 first from the ESL program from the school, but then once you're in the US and you're progressing and you're reaching the level that they need and you meet all the other requirements, then directly from there you can apply for your other I-20 with the F1.
Yeah, I just want to add here that we are working with all kind of top pathway provider like into study group, Cambridge, Navitas, and all. So
Yeah,
almost they
that's
have the programs available in the USA's in the top 10 or top 20 universities. Plus, they also have the programs available in different countries like UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand.
right.
Okay, so meantime, I launch another poll. So the poll is talk about what you expect from the study metro, and the options are training, processing time, dedicated account manager, more commissions, or overall more service to you and to your students. So you can take a part of this poll, and the meantime we can take some more questions. So now, then the next questions come from the Vibhuti Vyas, and she talk about what are the chances of non-STEM students to secure the employment as compared to a STEM students.
Okay, good question. Very good question. The reality is that there are more jobs for STEM students than there are for the other ones. That's pretty obvious. Simply because the US technology sector is booming and availability of labor and talent is still short. So there's a gap that has to be filled there. So for those who are doing MBAs, for example, or maybe they're doing MSF, there are also some good opportunities for them too. But then I think it becomes more difficult for those students who may not have the right strong qualifications like others. So I think when you are doing an MBA, when you're doing something more general, you better be one of the best students and you have to be very strong, committed, good communication skills. And then you can find some good companies like the big Fortune 500 companies looking for analysts, for example, project managers. But there will be less options for them and less money up front than anybody who is doing engineering, science, actuarians, scientifics. These people have a better chance and it pays much better. I think that's the rule. But of course, every school is different, every student is different, and really, I think you have to look at the students, how strong they are, and how far they can go. I think that anybody who is a strong student and a strong communicator, strong leader, and you can see this in themselves, will be able to succeed in the US, because our system is really meant to reward those who are successful and strong. And I think that's key to know that. I think if you have a lower performing student who you want to help, don't set expectations too high. Let them focus much more first on the academics. And then if they do this well, they'll be able to figure out like, the next thing after that. And what's the next question? Maybe we can another one.
Okay, thank you, Michael. The next question comes from the Neil that GR is a compulsory for the engineering students. It will help to get the visa.
It's not compulsory for every school. No, that's not true. It is, however, good to have it for the visa, I think. And also, I think it's a good practice test to do for the student to make them realize the standards that will come forward after at the school system. Many Indian students do very well with GREs because they are good with math and analytics, and they tend to do well on those. Where they lack is their communication and verbal skills. So just if you have any way of influencing this, I would focus on that as well. But we can help you and find schools that require GRE and those that don't require GRE. But again, sometimes the GRE are required. You might have to compensate this with a stronger statement of purpose, letters of recommendations, resumes, and GPAs.
Okay. Another question come from Kritika that how much financial aid is offered for the international students?
Well, I think we talked about this before. There is no possible loans from the US government to Indian students unless they are permanent residents. So their financial support is going to have to come from India or from scholarships from the universities. And as mentioned before, there are many scholarships available, and oftentimes they are based on the GPA of the student. So that's very important. That's really going to help to get them to where they want to be. We work with some schools who will give discounts directly to the students, at master's level as well. So sometimes, it's automatic if they have a 3.0 GPA and above. Maybe it's $1,000, $2,000 off per semester. Again, it depends on each school. And I think that's also where it depends on the financial support they can get. There are some schools that we know will cost $10,000 a year, and some that will cost $40,000 a year. So all again, the scholarship is not really important. What I think is important is to know how much they can afford, so they can have an increased chance of getting the visa and supporting themselves successfully in the USA.
Okay. And I think I have to close the second poll, and I'm surprised to see the result. So I want to share this result with everybody. The
Really?
poll is talking about they are expecting more training from the StudyMetro and overall more services for their clients and for them. I am amazed that nobody said that more commission. So that is a good news for us that everybody is looking forward for more services and the training part. So do you have any comments for it, Michael?
Well, I think it's good to hear this, and I think it's an indication that sometimes the agent is detached too far away from the university regulations, the laws, and immigrations, and I think that this is where we can help the most. And I think based on what we've been doing in the past year, what I can tell you is that almost every single week, if you work with us, you have a chance to be part of a webinar, whether it's directly from a university training you on what they do at their school, and it gives you a chance to ask questions, or to us as a staff member as well. And also we have an agent manual that we have created, so it's really powerful to also have this tool on hand to help you out. But I think more importantly, because agents are also spread out all over India, we tend to do a lot of webinars, Skype sessions. You can pick up the phone, you can ask questions to us directly, we can support you as well. But we do have an intentional, regular, weekly to monthly training that you can benefit as an agent yourself. Abhishek, I mean, I know that you also sometimes do go and visit also the agents, right, who are performing well, and you can provide additional
Yes,
training
yes,
one-on-one, you can answer questions too. So there is a commitment from us to do that as well.
yes. And also, I want to comment about the people who mention about overall services. Yeah, we believe in this. That's what, we start from scratching where the students need our help to shortlisting the universities and programs, and we help until he reach to the United States where he need our help for the job assistance or change of status. So we are working with couple of the company there who help our students to apply for the change of status from F1 to H1, and in the later on H1 to the green card. And overall, we believe if you provide the proper supports to our agents, automatically they start be trusting you more and getting the more students. And the same thing apply to your students also, because in the end your clients are happy whatever the services they got from you, they start referring to their friends and their relatives. So our complete business run on the referred, where the students satisfied and they start referring to the other students to take the services from you. So we believe in it, and that is good to hear that you also believe to get more services from our end. So
Yeah.
I have a very less time because we already crossed 1 hour now. So I'll take some couple of the questions only, and then I'll make sure that whatever the questions we doesn't covered here, I'll ask my team to call you by next week. Let's say next year now, and then he will solve all your other questions which was not discussed here. So I'll take one question for the visa. That is, what are the main factors for rejecting the F1 visa?
Forgetting it, I think I kind of went over this before, and I think you did also when you talk about the training that we provide. Four things. One is motivation of the student that is not driven by work but by career. I mean, in education. Number two is financial support. They have to be able to explain very well how they can support themselves financially. It's very, very important. Number three, what are the plans after they finish school? So what is the plan for going back to India and applying the degree into their career? And four is how do they choose a school and why? So again, what is the academic benefit for them? If they can clarify all these things really concisely, without hesitation, with confidence, and they have proven themselves to have done the research, they should get the I-20. We think that right now, because it's becoming more and more selective, the stronger students with the most academic strength are more successful. But for you, what you need to know as an agent is that we always want to motivate students to go first for the US as number one. And if they don't make it there, we can suggest them to go to other schools around the world. I'm European, and I can tell that European schools are very strong as well. They're less expensive. The visa rate is really high. It's good to go. And they also have English programs for master's degree who have the same ranking as any other degrees in the world. So you are here to help students to achieve their goals, but we don't want to give up on the first chance, because we have many options with StudyMetro.
Okay. So I'll take the last three questions. So one question for the processing time. The agent Sushmik asked that if we provide the complete documents like GRE, TOEFL, and transcripts, still the university take a long time. How do we minimize the time to get the outcome on application?
I think that the one thing that always makes things longer is when we don't do a good job giving exactly what's required. So oftentimes the school is going to have their own checklist of documents necessary, and it's really common for us to give all of the documents and then for one thing to be missing. And when this happens, we are losing a week or two sometimes, going back to the student, going back to the school, going back to the committee at the school. So really, I think what's really critical is to do the work up front on your end to make sure that everything is really accurate and it's customized with that school. It's happened before that, we received, for example, a statement of purpose with the wrong school name or the wrong program. If this kind of things happened, the school will know right away that this person is not serious, or maybe is doing more than one application, and will want to have another one redone again. So number one is correct information up front, and then number two is responsiveness to us. So when we go back to you and say we need this, this, and this, get it to us as fast as possible. And then we can push the schools, to meet the deadlines to get the things going on. Schools are getting much better, by the way, are getting like 20s really quickly. We used to do this in 2 weeks. And now I think that most schools will do this within maybe like 3 weeks to a month at the maximum.
Okay. We have one agent from Nigeria. His name is Pricey Folaraji. And his question is that are you concentrating on India market? What about the Nigeria? Is there any possibility for partnerships? Praise from Nigeria. So, praise, yeah, definitely we are working with couple of the agents from the Nigeria, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, and other Africa country. And it's not we are concentrating more in India. India is a number one place because we based here, and also India is the second largest country for the students mobility, but
Yeah.
definitely Africa and the other part of Asia, it's a good they are providing a good number of the students, and we can work with you. If you have any students, feel free to send their documents to abhishek@studymetro.com. And before that, if you are looking for the partnerships, we can send you the agency agreement and we can work together. Okay, and Rajesh from Bangladesh asked the question that what kind of presentations which we can share with you so that your counselors can give the proper or good counseling to your students. Definitely, Rajesh, we have country-wise presentations, and if you want those presentation to use for your counselors, we can definitely share with you. Also, you can take a part of our weekly webinars where we talk about the different university and different programs and the universities where you can learn and your agents, your counselors can learn about it. Okay. So last questions for you, Michael. And before that, I will launch another poll, the last poll and last questions. How you rate this webinar? So please take a part of this poll. And the meantime, I'll ask the last questions to you. The questions come from Samir. He is the director of Skillsoft Overseas Education, and his question is credit transfer available in the US university for the engineering courses after the students
Mm.
finish 3 years of diploma?
Well, so if I remember when I used to work at a school, um, some school will accept 3 years degrees under the condition that the student is in a Division One ranking and that the school in India is also accredited by the national government of education. And so World Education Services provides a list of all the schools that the school can check off to double check that it meets the requirement. So right now, not every school will accept 3-year degrees, but many do, and more are doing it. But I will tell you one thing that um, that's also why we see more schools asking for a credential evaluation, like a WES and such, because they really want to see the conversion depending on the school in India where they came from. Um, on the other end, about credit transfers, um, it's possible. Schools will definitely accept credits so they can save money and time, but it's going to require the student to do an evaluation with WES so that each course can be evaluated very carefully for the equivalency in the US. But it's definitely something that can be done. To be honest with you, many students don't want to do that because they want to stay in the US longer. And if you're transferring credits, you're actually shortening your time in the US because you can finish school earlier. So it's sort of a chicken and the egg, right? Concept, depending on who you speak to. Okay,
Okay,
you check.
so we have the result of poll,
We're good.
and you can see in your screen. I think we got a we did a good job. Um
Yeah,
50%
good.
of people they said 9 out of 10, and 21 is for 10 and 8. So it's good that we are hearing the positive response from all our agents, and I want to wish to everybody happy new year, and I wish that the 2017 will be good for everybody, for the study metro and all our partners, and
Mhm.
we look forward to work with you more closely, and we are planning to visit everybody in physically also, and we are doing like Michael said, we are doing the education fair in the 5 different cities in India, like Bangalore, Mumbai, Ahmedabad, Anand, Indore, and other places where we can you can if you belong to those cities, you can definitely come and meet us, and you can bring your students also.
Yeah.
So
Thank you very much, everybody. Also, Happy New Year from Europe, from the US, and hopefully we'll be in touch to work together pretty soon.
sure, definitely, Michael. Thank you very much. Happy New Year to you also, and Happy New Year to all my partners. And see you soon. Then, thank you very much. Bye, Michael. Bye, team.
Bye, bye. Thank you.